Like if we could ignore all sort of the negative stereotypes around aging, what do you think aging could actually look like for women?
I think it's pure and utter acceptance, stepping into your power,
Yeah.
using everything from your lived experience. Because quite frankly, by the time you hit 65, you've lived a lot. Without being preachy, I don't want to come across as like, when you're 65, you should listen to your elders and preach it. It's more, I think what I would like to see about aging is it's a team sport. Actually, and that all generations have mutual respect for each other in terms of what they can contribute in problem solving or day-to-day life or whatever that is.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever we talk about, aging and the difficulties of getting older and becoming more invisible and all these stereotypes, it's also happening to those that are younger.
Yes.
Because we do stereotype younger people. So I think it's really this opening up of a mutual respect for
and learning from each other,
Yeah.
right? And recognizing that we can learn as much from another generation as they can learn from us, and trying to leverage that into every space in society. So you think cross-functional teams at work that include age as well. There's a lot of, we could go into the whole diversity equation in terms of representation in brands and media and all of that kind of stuff. So there's that. It's just being included.
Welcome to Coming Into Focus. I am your host, Helen Tansey. Today, I am in studio with Cynthia Hyde and Leslie White, and they are identical twins, and they have this passion to start to change the narrative and the way that we think and feel about aging. And I feel that they embody this beautifully by embracing their gray hair, by using their voice, and they are just two incredible women that inspire me, and I know that they will inspire you. And these women are far from invisible. I am so thrilled to have you both here today. Thank you guys for coming here.
Oh, we're so happy to be joining you, Helen. Thank you for having us.
Okay, so just for our listeners, if they're watching, Leslie.
Correct.
And Cynthia.
Yes.
Okay, just to sort of so people know.
Yeah.
So before I get into the questions, do you mind sharing how old you are?
We are
65. We just turned 65 last month.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you, yeah.
And what is that? How do you feel getting older? Like are you sort of going, this is great, you're just challenging? Like, how do you feel about aging?
Well, I think 65 actually was a bit of a milestone. So it does, I'm not going to lie, it does give you pause as you come up to that, because society says, whoa, you're a senior and you're a senior.
Oh, okay.
So that was something that kind of dances around in the back of your brain as you approach that milestone. But do we feel any different than we were at 61, 62, 58? Not really.
Yeah.
And, in terms of how do you feel about getting older and aging, we're very lucky, pretty terrific, actually.
Yeah, I think also, if somebody had asked me 10 years ago if I would feel this good at 65 or even 60, I would never have believed them. So I think that's a big kind of internal message you listen to, and you just go, oh, I actually feel better than I did at 55 or 50.
And why is that, do you think?
Well, I think because your priorities start to map out a little bit more clearly. You start to think about and focus on what's more important, because it's just your time. You're leveraging everything you've lived and experienced, and you're just going, you know what, I'm going to go over here today, and that feels pretty good. So I think there's a lot of freedom, if you will, you know, for being able to explore maybe what you haven't been able to up until now.
Well, and I would also add that I think if you're listening, we now know the most important thing that you can do right now is look after your health.
Yes.
And we're really lucky that we have our health, which allows us to have these inner dialogues, etc. But there's just so much more information out there that allows you to take care of yourself so that you can age so happily into this last chapter.
Yes.
So it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is the last chapter?
Oh, that's a real... well, there's some people that say first 30, second 30, last 30. So I'm sort of thinking more third act rather than last chapter. I think the third act can be full of all sorts of different chapters, obviously, and that's what we talk a lot about.
Reinventions, yes. And I think that's a misconception that when you get to a certain stage in life that it just stops.
Yeah.
And no. Not at all. In fact, the reinvention becomes more exciting.
Yeah. Well, when you mentioned that too about 65, about the number, because I'm turning 60 next year, and there's something I can't explain what it is. Like I'm excited, but it's also like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, I'm going to be 60, and it's like, because I think when you're young, you sort of envision yourself at certain ages, but it's hard to envision. I can't envision myself at 85 right now, but it is something I don't quite have the words for what I'm feeling yet. I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel sad. I feel excited, but it's also like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all those markers. I remember, the 30 and then 40 and then 50 and then 60. I'm not going to lie. I think I had a moment with that number. But all I can say is that now sitting here with a view from 65.
Yeah.
It's as vibrant and wonderful and I would say even better than the 50s.
That's what
for
I've
me,
heard.
every decade gets better.
Yeah.
Which is
that's what I've
special.
heard. I've heard 60 is like you actually get to this point like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And you just speak your truth. And
And I think that we also think that, when you're younger in your 30s, like 60 is just so far off and it's so ancient and there's not much thought giving to what it's going to be like. And quite frankly, I really think that needs to change.
Yeah.
So the more we all talk about these kinds of things, the better everyone is in all generations. Yeah.
Well, remember when we'd lie in the sun and people go, oh, it's not good for you when you get older. And we're like, oh, we're not. You just
I'm never going to get old.
We're going to get old. I'm never going to be 60 or something like that. Yeah. So you've created a platform called Twinagers, and you are both on a mission to sort of redefine society's narrative around aging. Why did you want to create this? Like, what was the...
Well, I think, I'll start. You'll jump in. I know you will. We wanted to, it came out of pandemic conversations when we were all in our respective bubbles and we were each other's bubble.
Yeah.
And we have had very different careers and different career paths and also different experiences at different times throughout our life. Like I had kids a little bit earlier than you had kids. You were in the financial industry. I'm in the creative industry. And when we started talking about what we were seeing, feeling, thinking, we realized we were thinking many of the same things despite those disparate experiences. So that led us to go, well, wow, if we're only two people feeling the same way about where we are at this stage of life and some of the issues we might be facing or the ups and the downs and the challenges and opportunities around aging.
Yes.
Imagine how everybody else is feeling too.
Yeah, and I think the key word for us was everybody else.
Yeah.
So there were and continue to be fantastic celebrities and spokespeople that have a platform and talk about the narrative and what it's like to change, like think Jane Fonda or Jamie Lee Curtis, and they all do an amazing job.
Yeah.
But what we got talking about is, well, what about the ordinary, everyday person?
Yeah.
Is there a place where, or a community where we can feel safe to discuss these issues rather than having these inspirational, wonderful pieces of information from these celebrities coming at us? So that's why we thought, well, maybe if we're talking about it, we can open it up and talk to others about it. And that was the whole idea.
Yeah. And was that sort of was that the moment when you sort of thought, okay, we have to do something sort of try to change this narrative around aging and how to support people as they age?
Yeah, I think that was a big thing, was how we were feeling, but also how we felt. Some of the issues we both felt were a little bit invisible,
Mm,
and we hear about that, time and time again.
yes.
But, certainly in my career, and I'm still working, it's a very different environment when you walk into a room with a head full of gray hair,
Yeah.
or even before when I didn't have a head full of gray hair, but I was
Yes.
the oldest person in the room. And I felt like I had to keep proving myself over and over and over again. And I thought, what's that all about?
Mhm.
The lived experience, the value of aging wasn't being identified,
Yes.
respected, valued, whatever word you want to attach to
Yeah.
that. And I think Les felt the same thing throughout her career. And then, of course, you look around just in everyday normal society and instances and can feel that
Yeah.
invisible kind of
Yeah.
when
I,
people
I, I
look at
don't
you.
think corporate Canada, the business world at the time that we were maturing into it,
Yeah.
had it on its radar at all. And
Yeah.
and it's getting better,
Yes.
but it's not. I mean, if you were the oldest in the room, there was preconceived notions that, you needed help in certain technological issues, like all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
You're not as quick thinking.
You're not as
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Like all those narratives that hang around that just don't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
So, that really drove us to say, you know what? Maybe just by virtue of being and us talking, we can, be part of the demonstrative
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's also it was really an interesting period of discussions between the two of us, because while we recognized that there was that sort of external perceptions that we were battling, we also battled our own internal
Yes.
beliefs in terms of what we should be doing or what we shouldn't be doing or what we
What
could
you can
do.
wear,
and
or how should you retire if you don't want to, and yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that, I think, that actually struck harder,
Mhm.
because you kind of went, oh my gosh, I'm doing this to myself in a way,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But then you have to ask yourself, well, if I'm thinking this way, why am I thinking this way? How did it
Yes.
become like that?
Yes.
So there's a lot of kind of different factors that come at you.
Yeah. So talking about that, sort of changing the story about aging,
Yeah.
what are some of the most harmful stories that you've heard women share that are over 50?
Oh, wow. One should we start with?
Well, there's so many, and that's the sad part.
Yeah.
We had what I love about what we're doing is it is primarily online right now, but we do have a really engaged community that comes
Yes.
at us with some stories. And I
Mhm.
remember right at the very beginning, a woman came off of the public commenting and went into DMs and told us this whole story about how she was leading a team of about 12. They were all much younger, and she was being excluded from the outings that they would do, a whole bunch of different group things, as well as part of her actual role. And she said, "You've given me the courage to go and talk to my superiors about it," because she had talked about it before and it hadn't come back. And then, so she went and she had this conversation with her group and her people that she reported to, and came back a few weeks later and said, "Thank you for allowing me to really think about this. Now I've done this. We've got a whole task force set up. We're really addressing the issues that I brought up, and I feel so much better as a leader, a mature leader in my organization." And I just thought, that is a very common thing.
Yes.
And she had the bravery to come to us independently. She didn't want to go public with
Yeah.
it, but it just is so common that you see
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
working world.
Yeah.
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 I think some of the other issues are that you can't keep up with technology. You wouldn't know the trends. You're not up to date on all the latest and greatest whatever music, whatever else. So there's just,
Mm,
yeah, there's a lot of negative
yeah.
stereotypes out there that
Yeah.
we
Well, it's
should
funny
be.
because I find younger people are
Yeah.
listening to the music that we listened to when we were
Yeah.
growing up. And I remember once my son was listening to Lauryn Hill, and I was like, "Oh, you're listening to Lauryn Hill?" And he's like, "You know her?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I know her. Like, we listen to her." Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's true. Now, what do you think if they were like, if we could ignore all sort of the negative stereotypes around aging,
Mhm.
what do you think aging could actually look like for women?
Mm. Wow, that's a really great question.
I think it's pure and utter acceptance, stepping into your power,
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
everything from your lived experience. Because, quite frankly, by the time you hit 65, you've lived a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And without being preachy,
Yeah.
I don't want to come across as like, when you're 65, you should listen to your elders and
Yeah.
preach it. It's more, I think what I would like to see about aging is it's a team sport, actually.
Mhm.
And that all generations have mutual respect for each other in
Yeah.
terms of what they can contribute in problem solving or day-to-day life or whatever that is.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever we talk about aging and the difficulties of getting older and becoming more invisible and all these stereotypes, it's also happening to those that are younger.
Yes.
Because we do stereotype younger people. So
Yeah.
I think it's really this opening up of a mutual respect for
and
anyone.
learning from each other,
Yeah.
right? And recognizing that we can learn as much from another generation as they can learn from us, and trying to leverage that into every space in society. So,
Mhm.
you think cross-functional teams at work that
Yes.
include age as well. There's a lot of, we could go into the whole diversity equation in terms of representation in brands and media and all
Yeah.
of that kind of stuff. So there's that. It's just being included.
Having that allyship too,
Yeah,
like
being
having us
included.
for
Mhm.
younger people, but also younger people.
Yeah.
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 For us
Yeah.
that are older.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're right. I do find sometimes I will meet younger people and things they'll say, I have to stop myself because I want to go like, oh, well, you're young.
Yeah.
And I just thought that's not fair because this is their experience where they are in their life
Yeah.
right now. And I find that sometimes older people can diminish sort of
Yeah.
what younger people are feeling. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is all they know, right?
Mhm.
So if they feel their life is over because
Yeah.
they've gotten heartbreak, then
Yeah.
we should honor that too and support them.
Yep. Yeah.
You've both experienced ageism?
Here and
Yes.
there,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
And
I
was
think so.
there, did you ever have a moment when it happened, like that woman that you spoke about, where you sort of stood for yourself and spoke about it or confronted it?
Oh, that's kind of a two-parter question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to experience it, it's another thing to
Yes.
stand up while you're in it and
Yeah.
to recognize it. So I talked a little bit earlier about internal ageism. I definitely saw ageism. I work in the advertising industry, and it's a very young industry.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
It still is. So I witness ageism often. I feel it often. I probably feel it more internally than I do externally. I think that's what drove my experiences around ageism. I mean, I tell this story often about attending the Cannes Lion Festival in France, and that was like the primo award show to always go to every June. So much fun. And everybody wanted to go. Yes, you wanted to win awards, but you just wanted to go because it was so fun and
Right.
you meet people all over the world and yada, yada. But man, the energy it takes to be part of that. So I would attend. I was very lucky to attend for a number of years. And I think it hit me on my last year I went. trying to keep up with the pace.
Mm.
And that pace was like off the charts pace. So it's not like I wasn't in shape and couldn't go out and have a good time and dance and the rest of it. But it was off the charts. And I would come home and I'd just be like, oh my God, I'm exhausted.
Yes.
And why did I have to do that? But I felt compelled to have to be part of that. And that's what that networking showcased itself to be. So it's like, okay, and I go and I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting thing. And I had to really sort of sit back and go, do I have to do that anymore? Why am I doing that anymore? And are there other ways to not feel like I'm facing ageism?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't go back, would you feel like, oh, it's because I can't keep up or because of my age, or would it be, would that affect you at all?
Yes,
Yeah.
it would. Although I think I worked it out in my head that I didn't need to do that for my own professional advancement and credibility or whatever you want to call it, reputation.
Yeah.
And it just takes a lot of years to kind of learn those things. And as I said, that internal belief that that's what I had to do. And then I went, no, I actually don't have to do that.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also maybe you don't enjoy it like you did.
No, it was exhausting.
Yeah.
I was just a mess.
Yeah. I remember that I had a friend and she went out, she's a yoga instructor, and she went out with some of the yogis, and then they were like, okay, we're going to go for drinks here.
Yeah.
And she said, no, you guys go ahead. I'm going to go home and go to bed. And then she said to me, she goes, yeah, I felt like the old person. And I was like, I said, it doesn't have to do with your age.
Yeah.
I said, it has to do that you value your sleep.
Yeah.
You value your time. You know that if you went out, you would probably be hungover and end up going home late. So I don't necessarily think it's an age thing. I think it's more of a valuing. And like you said earlier, like sort of standing in that and going, no, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. And recognizing that, that's better for you. And if those other people don't recognize what value you bring, then that you kind of have to let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't talk about you being identical twins.
Yeah.
I have, as I've told you both before, I have quite a fascination with identical twins, and I think a lot of people do. I know that CBC did a documentary a few years ago on identical twins, but you, being twins, you sort of, how you live your life, you have this built-in mirror with each other.
Yes.
So I'm curious what that is like, sort of seeing the aging process, seeing the emotional part of it, all of it. Like, what is that like, having your own built-in mirror as you age?
Well, you know what? It's funny. We were at an event yesterday, and this young woman came up to us, and she goes, "Are you twins?" And we said, "Yes." She goes, "I have a twin brother," and she wanted to talk about what being twins was like.
Yeah.
And her question was, do you have mind ESP?
Yes.
That's how she...
That connection.
Do you have that connection? Yeah. And we said, well, yeah, absolutely. Like you can look at each other and just know exactly what the other one's thinking and actually what they're going to say next and all that kind of stuff. But that's because we spend a lot of time together. Yeah. And she said, yes, she could, even with her fraternal brother, which I found really interesting. But the mirror aspect is really, I'll just start with the fun stuff. You know, if I get a haircut that looks really terrible, she's not going to do it. And if she buys something that I really like, I was like, what's the brand? What's the size? I don't have to go try it on. I just order it online.
Yeah.
So those are actually like really kind of light benefits on it. Yeah. But, you know, I think that we are blessed to have a built-in best friend dynamic that just goes all the way back. And that's pretty special.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that I talked about it a little bit earlier, because we had some of our lived experiences at quite different times.
Yes.
You know, so there was this sort of like almost like I what's that thing, the helix thing?
Yeah, it goes
Mm.
in and
Helix,
out.
it goes
Yeah.
in and out, but
Yeah.
it's and it's almost come full circle or whatever. But I think that, we react. We have the same temperament, so we react the same way, but we're actually quite different. And I think, yes, we are.
Yeah.
But I think that actually complements what we're doing right now
Yes.
as well, in terms of how we make our decisions, what we decide we want to work on, the respect for, obviously we're out there in social media land in a big way, and we've got a couple of like really strict rules. Like, you don't like what we're talking about or posting, we don't post it. Like, it has to be unanimous.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think there's certain things, and
Yeah.
if we've all got partners, we've had businesses with partners, all
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, there's that give and take, but ours is pretty much just built in, which is kind
Yeah.
of nice. Where even our moments where we might disagree, we just disagree and
Yes.
move on and
Agree to
find
disagree.
something else.
Yeah.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
it's not a biggie.
Yeah, and then, the scary part is if like one of us gets sick,
Yeah.
the other one, it's just like, it's coming, right?
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like we
That's-
both
I don't
had
like
frozen
that.
shoulder.
Yeah, we both
Oh, I
had
had
frozen shoulder. and
That's
both
the worst thing.
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of because it is the same DNA, and yeah, we had the
Who
same
went gray
ailments.
first? Like, who allowed yourself to
Oh,
go gray first?
I was the one that wanted to go gray. I
Yeah. Okay.
recognized the opportunity in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And Synth was like, no, I can't. I work in advertising. And I said,
Yeah.
well, I'm
See?
going to.
See what happened?
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
I made her.
Well,
Yeah.
was it because you saw Leslie with and go, oh, that's amazing?
Well, no,
no,
I didn't
the
even see it. It
discussion
was
about it.
a discussion, and it
Yeah.
was like, well, if you're going, I have to. Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about the pros and cons of it,
Yeah.
and the pros outweighed the cons. So we just said,
Yeah.
okay, let's just do it.
Yeah.
So we did it together. We went 18 months,
18
of,
months.
I love it.
Yep.
of skunks on heads. Yeah.
Skunks on heads.
Stripes on heads.
I was out for dinner with some friends, and both of them were agents.
Yeah.
And I pulled up the picture that I had done, the two of you that I had posted,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Oh my God, who's repping them?"
Nobody
like,
will take
I
a
know.
rep.
And I said, they don't have reps, and they're
Yeah.
like, why not? And they
Yeah.
both thought you were adorable
Oh,
and
that's
beautiful. And the
sweet.
first comment always is your hair,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Besides, first of all, the twins,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the
Yeah.
hair. It's that
Yeah.
amazing hair.
Well, we'll just do one little comment on going gray. You don't know what's going to come in when you start the journey.
Yeah.
And we were kind of lucky that we had this big white
Yeah.
thing that came
Yes.
in. It wasn't the
Well, we kind of knew
Sultan.
because our mom had a beautiful,
Well, you can
beautiful
always
head
hope,
of white
right?
hair.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway.
So we hoped we got her hair, and I think we did.
Yeah.
And I think the
Yeah.
gray that
Yeah.
you both go, it's like, I'm sure you went gray young, but you covered it up, right?
Endlessly.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So it's because
Endlessly.
I just got
Yeah.
my hair done
Yeah.
on the weekend, and my hairdresser, I've got 5 gray hair maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm the opposite. I would love to go when I see women
Yeah,
like you.
yeah.
I have another friend of mine, Elizabeth Mitchell, who's got
Yeah.
I just think it is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Cost much less.
It costs much
you
less.
Save so much
Less
money.
chemicals on
Less
your
chemicals,
head.
yeah.
Like the list just goes on.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
I want to just talk about your community.
Mhm.
So you have your Twinager community.
Yeah.
And one of the things is you say that you describe midlife as a launching pad and not a landing strip.
Mhm.
Who came up with that? Because that's really good.
Thank
Oh.
you. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, I did. No, I did.
No.
So what
I
have
know.
you guys personally launched then what have you personally launched and sort of seeing your community through doing this? Like, what do you see people sort of launching as they embrace their age?
Oh. Well, there's there's a lot of entrepreneurship we see,
Mhm.
certainly. We've met women that have launched businesses. A lot of people getting into things they used to do. So
Mhm.
artistic and, adventures, I said, endeavors. Um, writing. We've got a couple of friends that in midlife wrote books.
Mm.
So I love seeing that kind of reinvention and pivot, if you will, from,
Yes.
maybe what defined them first into like a new skincare brand or a book launch or, in my case, a production company and an education platform and, just
Mhm.
leveraging all the things that we've learned through our careers and being
Mm.
able to put something new out into the world.
Yeah, and I think although, I'd be careful about that because not everyone is launching something
Right.
new, and I think you have to be really careful about putting that expectation on people in midlife to
Mm.
Hmm.
launch something. I think it's more of a mindset. I'm going to launch myself. I'm going to come into myself. I'm going to
Yeah.
honor, everything that I've lived and how I want to live. And
Mm.
I think one of our more popular topics that we talk about is purpose.
Mhm.
And one of the more popular
Hmm.
posts was this concept of a big P and a little p, and how society wants you to figure out your big P. So, you
Mm.
retire and you're supposed to have this big P. You're supposed to write a book. You're supposed to launch something, like all that kind of thing. And sometimes that big P is elusive for a lot of
Yes.
people, and it
Yeah.
can cause so much stress and unhappiness if you don't have that big P. Like, what am I doing with my life? All that kind of invisibility keeps
Mhm.
going. So in our research and in talking to a lot of people about midlife and, your midlife changes and all that
Hmm.
kind of thing, this concept of a little P came up.
Mm.
Yeah.
And, your life can be a whole conglomerate of little P's
Yeah.
Mhm.
that actually puts you into who you are as a big P.
Yes.
Well, and it
And I
could
think
be
that's really important.
and it could be as simple as picking up the phone and phoning a friend you haven't talked to in 5 years. It could be looking after, a relative that needs a little extra help or
Doing a great garden,
yeah,
keeping your health up, starting a new sport, like
yeah,
all these things that are little P's
yeah.
that just add up to who
But
you
that's all
are.
reinvention too, whether it's on a
That's what
small
I'm saying.
scale to a large scale.
That's what I'm
Mhm.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it
Well,
reinvents you to who
yeah.
you are.
yeah,
Right.
Because it does happen as, if you have children and they move out or, they're
Mhm.
just not around you as much or your
Mhm.
jobs, that
Yeah.
whether it's retiring or even our partners,
Yeah.
like the relationships change. So there is that, what do I do now? Or who
Yeah.
am I
Who
Yes.
am
also?
I?
Who am I now
one.
after,
Mhm.
sort of going through all that because you've sort of been, as women, taking care of everybody else, where there's
Yep.
this pause to sort of go, okay, what do I want now?
Yeah.
And it's funny because that
Mhm.
big P is interesting.
Mhm.
But also realizing that you don't have to have a big P.
Yeah.
Like there's that
Mhm.
stillness and that just being content with
Yes.
what you have and not having to prove.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And I think, I've
Yeah.
talked to so many people that can't identify that big P, and therefore they feel so bad about themselves because
Yeah.
they're not able
Yeah.
Yeah.
to say, I'm going to change the world and I'm going to change the world this way. But,
Yeah.
not everyone can change the world.
No.
Right. So I think we have to be careful about that.
Do you think the P is also like, I know for me, I have this yearning for more,
Mhm.
but it's not more money. It's not more fame. It's not, and I don't quite know what the more is.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's more like experiencing life more fully, more conversation. It's almost like in a soul level.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
you could also use the word curiosity.
Mm.
So more
Mhm.
curiosity about learning something new, whether it's like reading a new book or something,
Yeah.
or talking to a new person or whatever. I think that the where I get a lot of satisfaction with this chapter of my life, if you will,
Mhm.
is that curiosity leading you into places that you might not have thought about before.
Mhm.
And then discovering new people and
And just
things
being
through that.
open to things. And I mean, one of my favorite phrases that I would rather ask myself is, how do I want to engage with the world?
Yeah.
Rather than,
Yeah.
this big, huge, what am I going to contribute? Because everyone wants to contribute.
Yes.
But hopefully by engaging with the world, like opening up your connections, learning something new, being curious, will bring you that.
Being of service.
Yes.
And,
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the stories with the work that I do when I did the Sundari women, the photograph of women, and even when I
Your
post
book.
you lovely women, the response that I get from women is beautiful, that they love this and they're hungry for it. And even I find when people go on my website and if they decide they want to shoot with me, when they see sort of my celebration of aging, they're like, oh, that's it. I want to work with her. And it excites me because I think it is really important. What do you guys get back? Like, do you get a lot of people sort of saying thank you for this? Like, is there that, like, not that you're doing it for the reward, but it must feel really beautiful that this is resonating with women and they want more of this conversation and seeing us as we age.
Yeah. I think one of the best compliments that we can get is many people say, thank you for just being out here and talking about it.
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one, or I'm glad to know I'm not alone.
Yes.
So that is just like, I just go tick.
Yeah.
Like, that's such.
Well, even when you said the frozen shoulder, I got frozen shoulder during COVID. And I was just like, okay, I think I could do about it. And when it got pretty bad and I had to see a specialist and they said, yeah, we don't know why. It's usually older women. They think it's connected to their hormones. We don't know yet. And and then it wasn't until 2 years later, I mean, I healed, that I was listening to a podcast with Mel Robbins and she had an expert on talking about menopause. And she said that frozen shoulder.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I thought it was, I thought I had done an injury.
Yes.
Like my doctor had said, oh, did you pull it, or are you carrying heavy bags, or what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
I don't think anybody until they get it realizes how excruciating
it's so painful.
Oh, it's
so
crazy.
awful.
My husband had to sleep in the basement because you can't sleep.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things that we've talked a lot about is this whole experience with menopause and learning, way after the fact that it was a menopause symptom.
Yeah.
I mean, why at 45 would you have frozen shoulder for?
Yes.
Anyway, so when we went through menopause, there was no discussion. No one was going to point out that this is kind of normal, nor were they going to tell us, how to get through brain fog and hot flashes and all that kind of stuff. There was a bit on HRT. But what another thing that we want to try to advance is to say there's so much discussion right now about menopause. And I'm so happy for women that are experiencing it now, coming into it, that they have the information. Like, isn't that just wonderful for them? Because we certainly didn't.
Yes.
And how can we do the same justice to the aging process?
Oh, I love
that.
That's
menopause
brilliant.
has had its moments. So now let's talk as openly and as loud and as supporting about aging that we are about menopause, right?
Yes.
What's it like to turn 60, 65, 70?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Anyway, that's where I think we're on a trajectory to kind of open
I think
up that
people want to
conversation.
see it too, because one of our most popular posts was we put out a post where we were out for dinner with our dad. And and he was talking about energy levels and, what he might have done differently with his life. And our dad is 91 right now. And he was 89 maybe,
he was
2 years
89.
ago.
Yeah.
And we were out for dinner and he started talking and I'm like, whoa, stop. And I pulled out my phone and I said, start again. And I recorded him. But it was one of our most popular posts because people wanted to hear from those that had gone through it.
Yes.
What your energy levels did, at least for him, in his 60s, 70s, and 80s. It was really interesting. And we got a lot of positive feedback for that. Some people who just said, hey, I'm still like doing whatever. And kind of some crazy stuff too.
Yeah.
But I mentioned that because that's part of what we want to be doing is
Yes.
demonstrating that we can be doing certain things at an
Yes.
age where maybe it wasn't expected that we do those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And going back to what you both said earlier is that there's a lot of talk now, like Stacey Sims and these
Yeah.
leaders in the
Yeah.
fitness and health industry
Yeah.
Yeah.
that are sort of start jumping,
Yeah.
start doing weights.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hanging, Peter Attia. Yeah.
Gotta
But I
start hanging.
remember hearing a woman, she was from the US, and she said one of her clients said, "Oh, we're going to sell the house and buy a bungalow." And she said, "Oh," and she said, "Why?" And she goes, "So we don't have to do stairs, so stairs won't be an issue."
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, why don't you work out so that
Yes.
stairs are never an issue?"
That's right.
Right? So
Exactly.
instead of, because these are going to be things that are going to
Yeah.
be issues, but instead of ignoring it,
Yeah.
do something
Prepare
about it. So
for
I
it.
do love that people are talking about
Yeah.
how to age healthy
Yeah.
and strong,
Yeah.
so that if you do fall,
Mm-hmm.
that you're not going to be dead in a year, because that's
Yeah.
what the research, like
Yeah.
30% of people, right?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
pretty scary.
We did a book review of Outlive,
Oh.
Peter's book, and I
Yeah.
remember saying again, like back to our point. Am I shitty? Just like, I wish I'd read that book when I was 40. I wish he was been around when I was 40
I agree.
and whatever. And it was interesting. I was telling some people about that, and they said, "Well, Leslie, would you have changed your behavior if you had had that information when you were 40?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I would have altered a few things."
Yeah.
Like, and maybe I might not have had those big, huge, bendy, wine-driven weekends where you just kept going and going. If I
Yes.
knew how all that
Mhm.
stuff, and all this information coming out is really good.
It
but-
is. Well, and I think what he also shows us, and the same with Stacey Sims, is that it's not too late.
Yes.
It's
Right?
not.
That if we
Yeah.
start making changes now, it's not too
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
You just sort of touched upon it. You talk about, 55 and feeling invisible, that a lot of
Yeah.
women can feel this.
Mhm.
What's a small step that you would invite someone to do if they're feeling that? Like if they're feeling like they're becoming invisible, what's a
Mhm.
small step that people can do?
Oh, that kind of goes back to your small P thing a little bit. I mean, if
Mm.
you're working, you can maybe try to connect with someone from another generation and go and have a coffee, right? And talk about
Yeah.
work, it-
Yeah, I think it's a
I
hard
said-
question because all sorts of things make people feel invisible.
Yeah.
So, my
Yeah.
first gut is like, well, why do you feel? Go
Yes.
inside
yeah.
and try to figure out why you feel invisible. Are you feel like have you just left work so you're feeling isolated, so you
Right.
feel invisible? So a small step could be go to the same coffee shop every day, have a coffee, talk to a stranger,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
just little things like that.
Yeah. Or pick up a new, like join a group.
Yeah.
It all sounds very simple, but it's more about what would make you feel more curious and less and a little bit more excited maybe.
Mm.
Maybe you're feeling invisible because you're not excited about anything. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. Right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's hard to answer because it could be you're not feeling connected, you're not feeling excited, you're not feeling
Yeah.
like what is it that I would. Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a hard
But
one.
it is. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that I haven't experienced that yet where I feel invisible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I said to someone, the last podcast that I do, I said, I've actually never felt more visible because I have a voice now and
Yeah.
I'm confident using it.
Yeah.
Where when I was younger, I would just be shy or I'd be afraid to say anything, and you don't
Yeah.
want to disappoint
Yeah.
people.
Mhm.
And so I feel now that, I do feel more visible now. I'm not afraid to sort of speak up and ask for
Yeah.
what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of being invisible means you've got something that's not working.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you have to sort of really sort of figure out what's not working and try and make a small change to change that direction.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, it's also you can't, if work's not working, a lot of people can't just go, well, I'm out of here.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
But what could you do to make your work
Yes.
more positive for you?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I would say is try
Yeah.
to explore
You
what's
have
not
to get
working.
to the root of it first, and
Yeah.
then put the little baby. I love the baby step concept.
Yes.
You just baby steps, because
Yeah.
every little bit will make it better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
taking that time to sort of, again, that stillness and asking
Yes.
yourself why.
Yeah.
So you mentioned just with Peter T that you would have done the work sooner.
Yeah.
Is there anything else with regards to aging that you're
Mhm.
going like, oh, I wish I had figured that out sooner?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I think we've learned so much in this journey,
Yeah.
because we've really dove into the subject and really listened to a lot of experts and all that kind of thing. Would I do anything more? I would have more balance on connections,
Mm-hmm.
relationships through the ages, I
Mhm.
think, to make sure that I'm protected towards as I age.
Yes.
So, an example is when you're working really hard and you've got little kids at home, you ignore certain relationships, or I'm too busy, I don't have time to go and do this thing for my mother, or do this thing with an old friend because I'm just too busy. And I think I would have changed that up
Okay.
a little bit more if I had understood the importance of social connection in your whole
Yes.
health and well-being as you age, and how it becomes absolutely your primary driver
Yes.
as you age. If you don't have that social connection
Mhm.
and some good relationships in your circle, you're really going to suffer.
Yes.
And it's
Well
been
said.
scientifically proven. So I think I would have paid more attention
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
And I think I would have paid more attention to my inner voice when it came to telling me that something wasn't right and I needed to make changes. We all fall into that, I'm, afraid of disrupting the status quo, or I like my paycheck too much, or, I don't want to move because it's too much work or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have paid more attention to my gut voice sooner,
Yes.
because those creep up, and then when you do something and you see what happens, whether it's small or large,
Yeah.
it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And I would say that would be one lesson I've learned through life is listen to your inner voice a lot sooner
Yeah.
than getting it to scream at you to do something.
Yes. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
we all tend to do
Yeah.
because
Well, those,
Yeah.
it's those little red flags that we
Yeah.
ignore, right?
Yeah.
And I
Pay
think
attention
sometimes
to
as
them.
women, we ignore them a little bit more.
And
Yeah.
always get to that later. I'm
Yeah.
going to just do this for now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 As we wrap up, I just
Mhm.
wanted to invite each of you something to share with our listeners. If
Oh.
there's something you want to share.
Oh.
I know you've
gosh.
already shared a lot.
Yeah.
But
Well, follow us. That would be great. Send us any kind of ideas on what you want to hear more about. I don't know. I think I just would say, if I could share anything in the learning on what we've done, it would be just, don't be afraid to, engage in a different way and connect in a different way, because I think it's very, very valuable in life. And if that means connecting with us on social media, hey, we're all over that. But seriously, like just pay attention to the ability to connect more deeply with whatever's out
Yeah,
there.
and I think,
Yeah.
it's apropos to just say, you started the podcast by saying if I knew 10 years ago, I'd feel this great. But
Yeah.
I also would say if I thought, even 5 years ago that I would be enjoying the level of work that we
Yeah.
do in a social media platform,
Yeah.
I would have said, wow, like
You're nuts.
you're nuts.
Yeah.
So it's never too late.
Yes.
Yeah.
And step outside of your comfort zone
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the growth is there and the benefits from that are just
Yeah.
wonderful. So
Yeah.
I would close with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I agree. The comfort zone is
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
And when you can step out of it, there's so much for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
something
Exactly.
that scares you or you
Yeah.
think you would never do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
I've decided I'm going skydiving for my 60th.
Are you?
Would you guys like to join me?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here.
you're
And
welcome.
I appreciate you so much. And the work that you are doing to sort of
Yeah.
change the narrative around aging, I
Mhm.
think is so important and
Thank
needed. And it's obviously resonating with people with the
Mhm.
amount of followers that you have.
Yeah, it's
and
building.
it is building,
Mhm.
and it's really beautiful to see.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really
thank
beautiful
you.
to see.
Yeah.
And a final note to our listeners, I'm grateful that you joined us. Take what resonates with you, leave what doesn't, and keep moving toward your truth. Until next time.